Morning everyone and welcome to Friday Live. So my name is Ashley Hay and I'm here to inspire you with a bit of arty inspiration going into the weekend. So today, of course, I'm going to be talking about one of my great loves, and that is wearable art, and we're going to be having a bit of shoe talk. So I'm pretty excited about it. One of the most, forgotten elements really usually is our shoes and what we do with our feet when we're creating wearable art garments. So I know I'm guilty of it. I'm usually thinking about what's happening on the feet as one of the last elements of the piece. So I'm usually inspired by the headpiece and then I usually create the garment. But I know that some of you out there actually, when you're creating wearable art, you start with the shoes. So today I thought I'd talk to you because, of course, we are focusing on upcycling at the moment in the Powertex Creative Hub until the end of July, and we're having a creative challenge of upcycling elements. So I thought, well, what's the perfect element to upcycle other than some old boots and shoes and sandals and things that you've got in your wardrobe, and you might even make them so that they are wearable. So I'll be discussing how that will look and what you will need to do to make sure that your shoes will be comfortable when you're wearing them. But you might go for maybe a little bit of discomfort just for the sake of the glamour. So let's take a look. I've got this wonderful boot in front of me that, of course, was featured in today's image for the live. And if you are here, please pop in. If you've done some shoes, let us know. But let us know where you are from and where you're popping in from. So Kay, welcome. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun. She said she's looking forward to this project. And Donna from Canada, thanks for joining. So yeah, so let's take a look and have a look at this wonderful boot that Heather Gilmore, my friend from WA, has created, and I am fortunate that she has actually, I own this piece. She has given it to me and I love it. So it lives in my studio. I show everyone and it is just the most gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous piece with attention to detail. So let's take a look and then I'm going to talk about some of my own wearable art, and so stick in because we will have a little demonstration as well. So let's take a look. So down to my art table. And so you can see here that I've actually got Heather's boot here. And so it is absolutely magnificent. So I'll just hold it up a little bit closer so that you can maybe see some of that detail in there. So this would have started as an old boot, something like this. So you can't see it because I'm in black, but anyway, let's hold it down here where there's some white. And I'm not having much luck with that. Anyway, it's an old black boot. And so she would have started with something like this, and then she has turned it into this amazing fairy garden sort of little house. So it is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think one of the things that I love most about it is I love all the different elements of texture that she's created, her attention to detail, and also the finishes of her colours. So it is just stunning. So what I'm going to show you today when we do get to the demo is I'm going to show you how to get this gorgeous texture that she's actually put on here. But of course, the form that she's created from here has just been done with alfoil and masking tape and wire. And then this is an old gum nut, and she's got some cardboard and corrugations. And what this is it is the foam filler that you fill the walls with when you've got a hole. So she's filled the inside of the boot with it. It's splayed over the front, and then she's carved the little steps into it. So very, very clever, great idea, and something we must all try. So super simple to carve into. And the nice thing is that the piece is also super light. So she's got some paper flowers on here, and there's also some beautiful lace elements. and stockinette. So like I say, the attention to detail on the entire piece is absolutely stunning. And then in terms of colours, she's finished it with apple green, peach, blue luster, and some white silver, and as well as some bronze gold in there as well. So the whole thing was done with bronze Powertex. So it would have all been brown when she created the texture, and then she has actually put the colour on top of that. So you can see what stunning colour you can actually do when you are working. So that's Heather's magnificent piece. And so I'll just pop over here again. And so it is just absolutely gorgeous. Does anyone have any questions about Heather's piece? So Mariana, welcome. And Donna's just saying, oh my God, that's so cool. And we've got Jackie here as well from East Yorkshire in the UK. So welcome everyone. And Erica from Queensland in Mareeba. And yes, the shoe house is just absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? So absolutely stunning. So I hope it inspires you to do something with shoes this coming week. What I have been loving about the challenge is that I'm showing something on the Friday Live, and then everyone's going away and creating like paintbrush sculptures and different things and bottle art, and it's just been so much fun to watch you guys going away and extending what I've showed you in the live. And that's what it's all about, is inspiring you guys to some creativity. So what is in your wardrobe? What can you pull out? What old boots do you have? What old boots does your husband have? And what could you do with them? So a perfect place for looking for ideas is we do have Powertex Australia is on Pinterest. And I have got a board called ARTY Shoes, and there's some nice things in there. And but you can, of course, have a look for some ideas somewhere like that. It's great to have a look at what other people have done that inspires your own creativity and possibilities for what you can do. So what's in your wardrobe? So let's take a look at what's in mine. And as I say, I have actually pulled out a couple of old shoes, and so I've got my trusty old boot here, and it has got some nice zips, and so I'm actually thinking that I'm just going to do something super simple with this one so that you guys can get an idea, and I'm going to demonstrate on it today. So I'm just thinking that what I'll show you, and I'll show you my, I showed you Heather's, and now I'll show you a wearable art shoe that I've done. It's not, it was part of a massive garment that I created in 2014 called Nature's Call. And it was, I put, the headpiece was 1 metre tall and the garment was massive. And then I needed to create something for the shoes. And so I went, oh, what can I do that would be simple but would tie in with the entire garment? So let me show you. I think I've got an image here that I can show you where I have got that garment. Let me just have a look, and there we go. So that is my wearable art garment that I created, like I say, in 2014, and it is it was so much fun that you to create, and this was the garment photographed on Judging Day. So yeah, it was awesome. But of course, what I did was I went, oh, you know, what about the shoes? So so yeah, so I kind of had to think, oh, what am I going to do? And so I'm going to show you what my solution was, and I'm going to do something quite quick and simple on this demonstration that I'm going to do today. So let me show you the wearable art shoes that I've done. So these were the shoes that I created for this garment. So you can see So there you go. So 2 shoes. And so you can see what I've done. I've basically tied in the elements that were in my garment into the shoe. I'll just move this out of the way so that I don't knock it. Pop it down there. Yeah, so I created these shoes, and so you can see that I've tied in elements that were actually in the garment. So on the actual garment and on the headpiece, I had all these lovely prickly elements. And so the idea of Nature's Call was that it was showing the macro environment of the oceans, and so it was actually looking at the corals and the beautiful things that are under the ocean. And the call of our hearts to nature, which is what a lot of my artwork is about. But as well as that, it was sort of referencing the overarching meta-narrative of the fact that, you know, the oceans are so loaded with rubbish. And so everything pretty much apart from the Powertex in the actual garment was recycled. So this was all done with recycled photocopy paper that were turned into the little chatterbox squares. I had some old floral elements, which were circular styrofoam balls. This one was just a styrofoam ball because I didn't have one big enough. And then this was discarded crepe paper, and it just made the most magnificent element. And then this itself is just sand and Powertex. So some super simple things. And of course, if you're using Powertex and then you're upcycling everything, you know, you're spending your money on your materials, but there's so many things that the Powertex is going to work with and be able to give you beautiful sculptural form and incredible texture, whether it's 2-dimensional artwork or whether it's 3-dimensional artwork. So that's what I love about the Powertex. I love the possibilities for creating sculptural form, and that's what I basically did when I created my garment. I just went nuts on creating incredible sculptural form with paper and Powertex, which I just enjoyed so much. So what can you recycle? What's in your wardrobe? Find some old shoes. So you can see I've got another one here. And now the possibilities of what you can do with heels. I'll just hold it over here. Let's put it down here. So the possibilities of what you can do with heels, just imagine, and you can turn them any way you like. So there's so many possibilities, but what you've got to decide is whether it's going to be just a creative artwork or whether you want it to be wearable. So a couple of considerations if you are wanting your piece to be wearable that I learnt from experience when I created these shoes is that your shoes will actually shrink a size if you use the Powertex. So you're better to get a pair of shoes that is going to be bigger than your feet, and then put your Powertex on it, and then you can always put some soft felt or something to line the inside, which is going to make them more comfortable. So what I discovered was I had made these for my model, and of course when I had finished, which was very close to the date of having to model the piece, and I was actually going to Sydney, so I had to have it finished 10 days beforehand. She found when she put the shoes on, it pinched her feet a little bit. And of course, when you're modelling and you're on your feet all day, the last thing you want is to be uncomfortable. So, yeah, that big lesson learnt. But of course, you could combine soft elements with hard elements. So you could do some where you're just layering some fabric on, and I know that you textile people out there are super clever. Julie Smith just does the most beautiful shoes that are covered in fabric, and the fabric is just glued on, and they are magnificent. But then in terms of, you might do something like that, but then in terms of creating your sculptural form where you use wire and masking tape and alfoil just to create the form, or styrofoam or paper, that's where you can really extend and do some incredible, crazy things with your piece. So you might want to, for example, if we were looking at this shoe, you might want to keep it soft, but then you might extend some incredible elements off it that then have some soft elements coming off the hardened elements as well. So the possibilities are insane, and who'd have thought you could do so much with shoes? And because I've been thinking about this today, I've actually been thinking for a while, oh, I've got to get myself some nice shoes and, you know, things that are funky, because I can no longer wear my beautiful heels that I used to have. I have to wear flatter shoes, and I've been thinking, oh, I should get some really colourful shoes and some really crazy shoes. Well, through having thought about this, I'm going now, maybe I'd better make myself some crazy shoes to wear. So let's stay tuned for that. Okay, let's just have a look. Does anyone have any questions? So yes, so Donna is just asking exactly that. Could you still walk in the shoes if they're done in Powertex? Would it not break apart? I haven't experienced the Powertex breaking at all with walking in them, and so you can see these particular shoes were actually worn, and you know, so they have been worn and actually used. So yeah, so I haven't actually experienced any problem with breakage, Donna. It's more that they can be a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, so shall we take a look and maybe have a look at what we can do, and I'll show you a quick demo. But in terms of creating sculptural form, like I say, for making really extended elements for your shoe wear, it can be really, really incredible, not only for your shoes, but also for your body, your arms, your head. So the possibilities for wearable art with Powertex are insane in terms of sculptural form. And because the Powertex does work so beautifully with paper as well, I know a lot of the art competitions now are actually doing you know, wearable art with paper is quite often a category. So let's take a look down to the art table, and I'll show you quickly. I'll show you quickly what we're going to take a look at, and I'll do a quick demonstration for you so that you can get inspired to do a little bit yourself. And like I say, the crazy thing is that once you get started, you'll probably be totally addicted to doing shoes. So let's take a look, and I'll just go down to the table and let's get started with a bit of a demo. So does anyone have any questions? Let us know if you have just popped in, where you're from, and whether you've actually ever made some shoes, and we would love to see those. Join us in the Creative Hub on Facebook, and that is a great place for you to connect and get any information that you might need while you're working with Powertex, and also feedback on your artwork, which is really lovely. We've got a gorgeous community there, and everyone is really, really super encouraging. And you can see there as well everything that people go away and create from the Friday Lives, which is fantastic. And I'm just loving seeing what everyone is doing. So I'm going to take this one, and what I'm thinking is, I'm not going to do it now because it'll take too long, but I'm thinking I'm going to do some elements with alfoil and masking tape just to make them a little bit more interesting on some of these peaks. So I'm going to go for sort of a sci-fi look, and I'm going to do it with black Powertex, and then I'm going to create the texture and I'm going to finish it in silver. So what I'm going for is I'm going for just a really simple textural effect that when I embellish it with a dry brushing technique, it's going to just come up beautifully. So I've got my Powertex here. I'm using black Powertex, and I have actually already given it a good stir and a shake, and then I just simply want to put a little bit of that out. Okay, so I won't put too much out, I'll just put a little bit there. And the other thing that I'm going to use to create the texture is I'm going to use paper deco. So the paper deco is an absolutely beautiful product from Powertex. What it is it is essentially a mulberry wood. So you can see this is the natural colour. So if I did want to keep the natural colour of the paper deco, then I would simply, pure and simply, use transparent Powertex on the paper deco instead of colouring it. So it is absolutely gorgeous. When you get it, it is actually quite dense, and I'm just looking to see, yes, I do have a piece here. See how dense that is? So I'll just hold it up to the camera a little bit so that you can see it's really quite thick. So what I love to do is I love to get my piece, and let's take that really dense piece because it's a good example, and I like to spray mist it with water. And then look how I can tease that out. And I can even double how big that is by just gently tearing that off. So there we go. So I'm sort of set up to show you the sculptural elements today. This is where it becomes a little bit tricky to show you, you know, a close-up demo when I'm showing you the sculptural things as well, but that's okay. I will try and do it so that you can actually see. So see that? It's now all teased really, really, really nicely, and it just has the most magnificent texture. Then all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to get my Powertex, and I'm not going to worry about it hardening because these boots actually have some lining in. But what it will mean is it will mean that the leather doesn't have that nice flexibility once I have done something with it with Powertex. So if I wanted it to retain that flexibility there, I simply wouldn't put Powertex in this section here. I would do something else with it where I want it to be able to bend and move. But here on the toe cap, I could harden, and especially up here and on the outside. However, if it was just simply a decorative shoe, then you know, it really wouldn't matter too much. So I'm just going to go for decoration, and if it does end up being wearable, then well and good, and if not, that's okay too, because it can just become an interesting artwork. So I'm just going to pop some Powertex on there, and I just simply brush it on. And so we are now repurposing these old boots, and they will be totally different by the time I'm finished. So I'll have to see if I can get more done on them this week. At the moment, I'm working on a very large art piece, which I'm really excited about. So, and I am also doing an Awake and Create. So I've sort of set myself a goal that every day I need to get up and I need to create art before I start my day. Which is just turning out to be wonderful. I'm finding I'm more energised and excited for my day because I've already done artwork. And if I end up spending some more time on art in the day, then it's just a bonus. But of course, you know, there's everything that I do is creative because I've got an arty business. So if I'm not creating art, I'm creating videos or doing designs, or everything is arty. So I'm actually very, very fortunate to have an arty business. Okay, so now I've put a bit of Powertex on there, and you can see they're nice and shiny. And yes, great idea, Mary. That is just the perfect thing to do. So Mary's just saying, can old boots be done and used as planters in the garden? Yes, you could absolutely do that. It would be brilliant. And then look at all these fabulous ideas. Cheryl's saying, Ashley, can I make my doors as a door stopper? Oh, she's actually already done that, I think. So Cheryl, we look forward to seeing some of those actually in the group. So make sure you post those, and so that we can see what they are like. And Okay, Renee's just saying that you're having issues seeing what I'm doing, but that's okay. We'll see how we can fix that, and hopefully you can see. So hoping you can see now. So another question, so I'll just quickly run through these. If you're not going to wear the shoes, should you also Powertex soles to protect them better, especially if they're going outside in your garden? Absolutely, Donna, you can do that. It will just give another layer, and they are rubber, and it will actually adhere. So if you, another one, we've got loads of questions today, I love it. If you're doing a shoe or a boot, where would you stuff with polythene? So Kay, that's what Heather has done with hers. So she hasn't stuffed it with foam. What she's used is that wall filler foam that you get that is in a spray can, and then you spray it into the shoe, and it actually creates a filling and fills the whole of the shoe. So it depends what you're doing as to whether you want to actually fill it or not. You don't have to fill it, because of course if you're going to do what Mary is saying, where you want it as an old planter, then, which would be just wonderful, then you know, you don't want to be filling up the hole on the inside. So it just is determined by you know, what you're doing. Okay, so I'll take the banner off. I think that's actually what Renee went, was that the writing on the actual video was stopping you being able to see what I'm doing. So let's have a look, and I think this is going to be a lot better because you'll be able to see. So thanks for the feedback there, Renee, much appreciated. Alrighty, let's take a look, and as I say, if you have got any other questions, please just ask them and I will be very happy. So we've got this wonderful paper deco stuff, and it is just absolutely awesome. We painted a layer of Powertex on our boot, and then we're just going to get some Powertex and we're going to paint that paper deco as well. And so this really makes the most gorgeous textural elements on your piece. Now, if you have spray misted it with water, you don't want it to be super wet, otherwise it's going to dilute the Powertex, and you know, which is what you don't want. So if your paper deco is quite wet, you can actually just dab it dry with a bit of a towel. I also sometimes will actually leave the paper deco to dry off a little bit, and then I will pop the Powertex on. Now you can see that the Powertex has mostly gone through to the other side there, and so you know, it has really covered almost both sides. So I don't have to go over everything. I can just do a little bit on there. Alrighty, so once I've got my texture, I have got a trusty tool here, my kebab stick, and kebab sticks are just brilliant because when you put your piece down, sometimes you want, you know, you don't want it to be all flat. The fantastic thing with the Powertex is that you can get dimensional elements in your piece, and you can see how I can still tease that and I can paint back into it. Okay, then I simply get my shoe and I just add that on where I want it to have a little bit of texture. See how I've missed a couple of little bits here? I can touch it up at the moment, or I could let it dry and then touch it up later, but I might as well touch it up now. And I can pop on the Powertex. Now, this is what I mean. So I don't want it all squashed down like that. So I don't want it all flat. And I think when people are beginning with the Powertex, that's one of the things that they do, because they don't understand that it's actually going to harden the element, and they're thinking, oh, I've got to get it stuck on and make sure it's stuck. It's not an instant stick like a hot glue gun. It sticks really like a rock. So all you need to do is make sure that it's fastened in a few points to whatever surface area you're joining it to, and then you can actually pull the texture out and not have it squashed down. So that way you get a lot nicer textural elements. Oh, sorry, I'm going way too far forward here. I'm getting excited. So you are getting textural elements on there that work really well. I should have done it so it contrasted with the black, but I'm really quite excited to have that. So essentially you're putting on your paper deco onto your piece, and you're doing it so that you're getting texture in that piece. So it's an absolutely beautiful textural finish. I hope you guys try it this week. If you haven't already, get your hands on some paper deco. It is absolutely glorious to work with, and a little bit goes so far. You saw how I stretched out that other piece and made it really go a long way. So I'll just check my comments and see if anyone has any questions. And so if you've got any further questions, Renee's just saying, thank you, Ashley, that's much better. We can see a bit better. So that's really, really cool. So thanks for letting me know. And I'll make sure not to have the banners on when I'm showing the table. So yeah, so guys, go crazy this week. I seriously hope you've enjoyed that today, and that you enjoy pulling out and seeing what shoes you could play with this week. And of course, if you would like to join us, you can actually join the Powertex Australia Creative Hub on Facebook and share your creations there. And you might even like to join our upcycling challenge. So there is a fabulous prize. I'm giving away my new Rust Effects online workshop to the person with most shares, likes and comments by the end of July. And so that's a bit exciting, but really it's just about being involved and just about sharing your work and having people give you feedback and sharing our creativity with each other. So if you do want to learn more about Powertex, there's heaps and heaps and heaps of information on the website. There's also a lot of free video content on YouTube, and so you can watch that as well. So guys, I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed today. I seriously hope you're inspired, and maybe if you get addicted to creating shoes and working with creating some funky, fashionable shoes, you might then like to extend into creating wearable art garments. Or if you've done it the other way around and you've done some incredible wearable art garments and you've forgotten, I haven't done any shoes yet, Powertex is the perfect solution, not only for the shoes, but for everything wearable in terms of sculptural form. So go crazy, go nuts, have a fabulous creative weekend. Donna is just saying that she loved the demo, so I'm glad about that, and glad that you could see, and that she loved the fairy shoe, and that she is maybe going to try one of those. So that would look fantastic in your new garden, Donna. So you've been doing a lot of work there, I've seen, and wouldn't that look great as a little addition and a little beautiful feature? And thank you, Mary. She's just saying you certainly do inspire us, and she doesn't want to do any housework. No, neither do I. I never want to do housework. So definitely a waste of time. So, well, not a waste of time, but yeah, definitely rather be creating. So guys, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and that you get out there and that you do start and have play with some shoes, maybe brushes or some bottles. So we've now got boots, bottles and brushes that we can upcycle, and just have fun this weekend. And I hope that I've inspired you to create, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week for some more upcycling fun, and we'll see what we do then. So ciao for now. Bye.